Hey, my name is Destiny Brown, and I am here today with my dad on the Undercurrent. What are we talking about today, Dad?
Listen, in a few moments, we're going to do a deep dive in how to raise a woman. This is Women's History Month, and what better way to start this off on the Undercurrent is to talk about the undercurrent of father and daughter relationships. And when I tell you, you're going to be blessed, this is going to be very interesting. This is the Undercurrent. This is the Undercurrent. Hey, dads, I am delighted to have my daughter with me, but I want to ask you a question. How you doing? Do you remember when our daughters were just like little dolls and it was like so sweet and you were their hero and all the things. And then somehow they turned into teenagers and then they went to college. And then when you look up, all of a sudden, they're like a woman. So we're going to talk about raising a woman and what that looks like. What are the redemptive qualities? What have you learned? How have you grown as you have watched your daughters grow? And if for those that may not have this relationship, we're going to talk about how to restore relationships through communication and togetherness. I'm delighted that my baby girl, Destiny, is with us. And so, hey, welcome to the Undercurrent.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes.
Tell me, so the deal is that this is Women's History Month, right? And you are kind of like Angela Davis, pro-woman. You like to stay behind the scenes, but you are very intricate in a lot of development. And it's very interesting for you to be as young as you are. You have really tapped into a lot of things that are similar to your parents. And I know you hate that because
How old am I?
You are 29.
28.
I know, but you were 29 in July.
How old am I today?
Oh, you should have said today.
No.
Okay, I was thinking this year. Okay. Okay. So anyway, you're 28, you'll be 29,
Yes.
right? And this is Women's Month, and this is the undercurrent. Can we talk about the undercurrent of what it feels like to be a 28-year-old today, a 29-year-old this year, in the season that we're in? What are you thinking?
Honestly, it's been very, very interesting. I will say something that I'm very grateful for going into my 29th year, my last year of my 20s, is just like really learning and growing in who I am and feeling way more confident in who I am. I've always been a very confident person. My parents, I'm very grateful. You both have instilled confidence within me. And so I think that's helped me emerge into the world like a stronger woman. But I think now as I am getting older, it's just like, okay, like I know who I am. I am understanding my boundaries that I have created for myself. I'm not afraid to speak up for myself. I won't say I ever had a problem with that, but
no, she's never had a problem speaking up for herself. Since she was a child, she's never had a problem.
Shout out to all my independent women.
Whatever.
But I will say, like, within the stage and environment that we are in now, I think it's incredibly important for women just to understand, like, hey, be true to who you are, understand like who you are, understand your no's, understand what you will and will not go for. Don't be afraid to say like, hey, actually you owe me an apology for that because that hurt my feelings, or I didn't like that, or I felt disrespected. Honestly, like, take up as much space and have as much audacity as a man.
Wow. So taking up as much space and audacity as a man, that sounds like, so I'm going to jump into my undercurrent vibe.
Okay.
That sounds like there's something beneath the surface. Do you as a, and I'm going to say this, do you as a, like Gen Zer, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
A Gen Zer, as a Black woman, a Black young woman, do you feel like overlooked, dismissed, or squeezed out?
I think, yeah, I think that's just kind of like the Black, I don't want to say that, oh, that's the Black experience, but
no, let's say that.
It is the Black experience.
Let's say that, no, and I'm saying in the context of saying, I think it's important that we give space to our daughters. And as a father, I would say part of that is making sure that you have platform to bring voice to your
Mhm.
feelings. And what you cannot avoid is you cannot avoid your skin color. You cannot avoid this misogynistic environment. So it was interesting when you said take up as much space and dominance as a man. You were very clear.
Mhm.
So I just want you to unpack that for.
I think for me, and this is a conversation my girlfriends and I have, I think just in day-to-day life, we run into men, and no matter what space, whether it's like in a relational space, whether it's in a workspace, regardless, and you really are just like, oh, things that men say and do, I wouldn't I think now in this space that I'm in, like, oh, okay, yeah, like actually I'm going to do that. But I think previous years, I wouldn't think to be like, oh, I can be that emboldened within myself to say this thing or to think that like, oh, I deserve this thing. Because maybe I didn't put as much work in as I probably needed to. But like I don't want to do an overgeneralization, but just from my experiences, I have seen my male counterparts like not put in as much time and whatever the case may be, but still walk in and be like, oh no, this is mine. And like, I have the confidence to do that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, take up and
Okay.
actually, like, word to Steve Harvey, think like a man. You know what I mean? Um,
So
but
here we
but
go.
really like have that type of like confidence, have that sense of like, oh no, like this is mine, I deserve it, this is mine for the taking, and like I can do that. And so like I said earlier, y'all have given me, I think y'all have always kind of instilled that in me, but now like it's just like finally clicking.
Yeah, but I think it's a couple of things. I think that part of raising a woman, moving you from sort of high school to college to now you are this year will be in your last year of your
Hmm.
20s, which says now the 30s are coming. I think that's a whole nother dynamic for you. Having gone through school, degreed, all the things, and then to still feel that whole that conflict
Hmm.
of trying to find space and voice in the world. I think that's going to be something that you're going to navigate, but persistence gets it for you,
Hmm.
right? Consistency keeps it, right? But gratitude attracts it. So I think in this context of raising a woman, and being a dad, fathers have to be that emotional barometer to track and to help them guide that, so that there is a level of persistence that they will go for the things that they want. There's a level of consistency so they can keep what they acquired. But I think all of it's got to be graced in a context of gratitude so that you keep attracting new things. Does
Yeah.
that make sense to you?
Yes, that was actually my devotional this morning. So I think ooh.
Yeah, don't quote it, but
No,
just go
hold
ahead
on.
and
I'm
say
not gonna quote it.
like
Actually, I do know
as.
it. It
Okay.
was Luke 17:11 through 19. It was the 10 lepers, and they were like, oh my gosh, like God, like please help me, help me, help me. And God was like, okay, like go and talk to like the priest. And the 10 of them went, God, or they were like healed. Like, of course, like God healed them, only one came back. He said, hold up, that's interesting. Didn't I help 10 of y'all? Where the other nine at? And the one that came back, he was just like, you are like go forth, and like you are like fulfilled and
Right. Mhm.
whole. And so basically my devotional was really just breaking down like have that sense of gratitude. Like, okay, once you have these blessings and these blessings come in, like make sure you go back and you really understand like who the blesser is. And so I think you can, I guess, use that same story for,
Mhm.
I guess, like fatherhood and like parents and everything in
Mhm.
general of like, y'all really are my blessers.
Mhm.
Truly, they my blessers.
Look at the bank.
Um, they my blessers. But I don't think I would be as blessed as I am, like if I don't go back and show gratitude of just
Right.
like, hey, like thank y'all, like
Right.
everybody, can we put in the little counter how many times I'm going to say I was unemployed? Like, take a shot of your coffee or whatever, of how many times I said I was unemployed. Just got a job. Shout out. Start Monday, March 9th. But throughout my whole period of unemployment, I am so blessed and so grateful. Like, I have a dad, and also, like, I'm gonna shout out my mom too. Shout out
That's
to you,
right.
girl.
Absolutely.
But I have parents that literally were like, okay, girl, like, we got you. And I if you did not know me, you would have thought like every single day, like, oh, this girl getting up going to work and she has this, that, and the third. And like, I didn't miss a beat and I didn't skip a beat because I
Right.
had parents, especially a dad, who was just like, all right, like, we'll figure this out. I will never forget. It was April. I got let go April 5th, 2025, April 3rd, 2025. We had a fabulous dinner. We went out to this like really nice like restaurant, and I had both my parents sit me down, talk to me of just like, all right, this is the game plan. This is what we'll figure out. Like, you don't worry about it. Just like keep going, keep rocking every single day. We have you.
Why do you think, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. So it was a fabulous dinner. Let me tell you from a father's perspective. A father's perspective in terms of raising a woman is that I believe fathers must be the emotional safety net for their daughters. The fathers are going to be the first encounter of how little girls will see ultimately whoever they engage in, date and all the things. So the bar has got to be established. And so we didn't take her to Burger King. We went to a real
Il
rated,
Panio off the Beltline in Atlanta, Georgia.
right. And I'm telling you, it was, and you know why? Because it was necessary for her to see her future while she's sitting in this space, in this context of wondering, like, man, what am I going to do next? And so to me, it was important we do that. So let me say this to you, that in that space, your mom and I were real clear about your emotional health,
Mhm.
because your intellect is great. You're smart as a whip. But there's a lot of things that in terms of raising a woman, I'm gonna say, that younger women may not know, and particularly younger women of color that may not have that level of support from their parents to protect their emotional health, because jobs are going to come and go. We're in an economy right now that and we're in a space where everything is unpredictable. So the best thing you can do is hold on to your sanity.
Mhm.
And I think that's great. And congratulations on your job. And we even told you that it was going to be a stretch. And so in that stretch, there's also a level of discipline that we'll to get to. But since you brought that up, let me ask you this question. When you think about your childhood, right, what moments stand out to you the most?
Let me go through the Rolodex.
Right. So then that means that
Um,
there's several.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I had a really great childhood. I don't think that I'm privileged to say that too. Of like, I really never had to want for
Let's
anything.
put a pause in that and let's talk about the undercurrent of being privileged. Because privilege in this conversation is not privilege like in the macro sense, where there's a whole lot of people who are privileged and elitists. Privilege is about what you talked about earlier, gratitude,
Mhm,
because there are a lot of 20 something year olds, girls, who have been either abandoned
mhm,
by their parents, or more so abandoned by their father,
mhm.
and it creates a bad effect on how they engage in relationships. So for you to say that and you're right, you had a great childhood. Probably as a parent, we probably did what we shouldn't have done, and that is always wanting to make things better for you than what we experience. It turned out great for you and your sisters, because it's not about you guys didn't grow up to be brats.
Mhm.
You stayed in a wonderful, grateful space, but everybody doesn't have that opportunity.
Yeah. I'm grateful to say that. And also I was just like even like thinking about it, like I had the opportunity and the privilege like to move back home. Like there was a point in time that like I was like living with my dad, and like not a lot of people are able to do that. Just maybe resources, like parents may not be able to be like, "Hey, I can afford to have someone else like back in the house with me," or like you're grown. So,
Well, let's talk about the setup. Let's talk about the move back now. Since we talking. So what happened was I got set up. See, my girls, they know that they got me wrapped around their pinky finger. So her sister, Casey, called her and said, girl, because they do the thing. So they got a code, right? So Casey says to her, you crazy. You just need to go and tell dad, blah, 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 blah. And then they do the network. So one sets you up, another one, and then Destiny comes in, Tee, I'm here.
call it going that way.
Okay.
But that was your experience, so I have to respect it. But all that to say, like, I'm grateful
Yeah.
that I had the opportunity to do that. He literally kept like, girl, you're grown, like, figure it out. But I had a safe space like to land, and like I'm grateful that both my parents have provided me a safe space always to land like well into my adulthood. We just talked about like earlier, I'm turning 29. Some parents are like, hey, once you turn 18, boo, figure it out. I don't have that, and thank God, because I would not know what to do. Actually, let me not say I wouldn't know what to do. They taught me a lot, but I'm grateful that I can know that no matter how old I get, like I can turn to both you and my mom and be like, hey, like I need help, and y'all will help me figure it out. And I think now, especially as I have transitioned more so into like real adulthood,
Mm.
um, they've been more so helpful in the sense of like, let me kind of walk you through and like talk you through this. I can give you the advice, but I'm not going to give you the answer. And I'm grateful for that because like now y'all are teaching me to, okay, girl, like you do kind of know the answer or you know the steps to get to the answer. So like be confident in that. And then also they're really teaching me how to be confident in my decision making myself of like, you know what to do, just relax, like trust your gut, trust what you know, trust like what y'all
Mhm.
have instilled in me. So I'm very grateful for that.
Part of that, I think, is how do we teach each other?
Mhm.
So as much as we have taught you, and I think we'll focus it around our relationship, as much as I've taught you, you have equally have taught me. And so let me tell you some of the things you've taught me. You've taught you've taught me you've taught me how to think about myself. It is very interesting because what growing up, you've seen me give my whole life away.
Mhm.
And I hope that that did not put like a bad taste in your mouth about generosity. And I'm talking about because in the Black experience, it's different. Um, because sometimes we misjudge or we mislabel generosity for being used.
Mhm.
What you taught me was that I have value.
Mhm.
And that's what I learned from you. What's a life lesson would you say that I taught you?
Okay. And you know, it's so funny. I was like thinking about, I prayed about this morning. I was like, Lord, like, give me the right words like to say and like all these things. But, and don't take this, I hope you hear it well. And I hope like it resonates well with other people. You taught me that like, oh, you are, you are just a boy. You know what I mean? And not in like a disrespect. And I please
Right.
don't take it
No,
as like a
no, I got it.
disrespectful thing.
Right.
But in my mind, like growing up, it's just like, oh, you see your parents as like, oh my gosh, they are just like these like superhuman things. And like, oh my God, like, wow, you do all these really cool things. And like you show up and you do all this stuff. But at the end of the day, like, I think there was like I will never forget. There was a moment in time we were driving. This is probably when I first just like moved in with you, like 2018. I was still in school. I don't know where we were coming from, but you and I were having a conversation. We passed Mount Perrin Road and you said something. And in my mind, immediately, I was like, oh, he's just a boy. But not in like, just how like, I'm just a girl, but in the sense of like you are just a person and
Mhm.
you are still trying to figure it
Yep.
out. And even though you have all of these years of experience, you have all of this wisdom, you've gone through all of these like life moments, you are still figuring it out and you will never stop figuring it out until like you draw like your last breath. And like that was really kind of like reassuring. Something happened yesterday with my mom. Like all the women in my family, love them dearly. Like we are true thespians. Like y'all actually need to roll the camera all the time. Like we will give y'all good TV. But something so minute happened yesterday with my mom, and she just would not stop talking about it. And she was so like dramatic. And I'm like, girl, it's not that deep. But then I thought about, I'm like, I keep forgetting, like, you're just a girl. Like, absolutely, I get it. Because I do the same thing. And like I have traits of like both of y'all. But I'm saying all that to say I think that was probably the most of you taught me a lot of other things. So
Right. No,
I
but
hope people
I
aren't hearing it
no,
like that. But
that's very good.
like, oh, you're
Yeah.
just a boy. Like, okay, cool.
Because the real issue is everybody's still trying to figure it
Yeah.
out. And we are figuring it out in different ages, stages, and seasons. I think what's important though is that we learn to be aware of the season that you're in. be aware of the season of the relationship that you're in with your child, whether that's a son or daughter. Clearly, this is March, so we're focusing on Women's History Month, and I think it's a cool thing. But I also think that fathers try to teach a level of, like you've already said, confidence, boundaries. Boundaries are important
Mhm.
in this space. Emotional boundaries, physical boundaries, financial boundaries, and then life boundaries. Because if we can really help you to understand that there are boundaries not to restrict you, but this is where, getting back to what you said earlier, this is where you fill your space.
Mhm.
And this is where your voice is dominantly heard around character
Mhm.
and around self respect. Because I'm going to tell you, here's another father deal. The most attractive thing about a woman is her sense of self respect and wholeness,
Mhm.
because that is mentally attractive to men, knowing that you're grounded, not that you have everything figured out. And I think that fathers should provide that kind of sense of opportunity and validation
Mhm.
to their daughters.
I would definitely say like I've been validated by you. Sorry, I know I keep forgetting my mom.
Yeah, no, yeah, of course,
I know this is supposed
because
to be like a father-daughter like
but
conversation,
it's
but like my parents are very involved in my life.
absolutely.
And like I tell them what's happening, what's going on. But you both, and especially you in this sense, have instilled so much of that in me. Like they really taught me to like be obsessed with myself. Like
Well,
if it's
okay,
not me,
that was an
then
experiment that
who?
went bad. I promise you. I promise you. Because Destiny takes it like to the nth degree, and I'm like, girl, you got to pull that back.
But no, but like but really that is how you have to be. Like you have to be so confident and so like I am so in love with myself that no matter
That's
what
good.
happens in
Yep.
this life and time, like I am so good with who I am. And I'm grateful to have that at a young age because sometimes like people are still trying to figure that out, even like well in like seasoned areas of their life, it's like seasoned years of their life. But I have that, and it's because my dad constantly was like, hey, like, you are just like so smart and you can do all of these things. And like, I'm so proud of you. And like, no, I'm showing up, or like, hey, if I can't make this, like, just know this is how I feel and all of these things. And also I have two, it's a little running joke between me and God of like, you gave me two of the most emotional parents you could give
Yeah.
a human
So
being.
let's talk about that. Why do you think we were like emotional?
Oh my,
I'm
one
just
time,
asking.
oh my gosh, I'll never forget. One time, oh man, what was this? Oh my gosh. It had to be recent within like the past like 4 or 5 years, whatever. We were texting and I don't think I responded back to you like immediately. I think it might have been like the next day. I got a response, hey, this is your dad, like in case like you care about me. Like I realized like you didn't respond, like my mom does the same thing. Y'all good?
Okay. No, here's the
Y'all
thing.
okay?
No. Okay. So in defense of your mom and I, and for parents everywhere, right? Here's the real deal. When you want something and you send me a text, you send your mom a text, you want an immediate response because you are low key super emotional. And
Absolutely.
no, you see, she reads
Absolutely.
it, right? But watch
Yeah.
this. So we're responding, we're attentive. And so, Des, we got to talk about reciprocity because that's another undercurrent. This is a big word for her.
Can you put a tally for how many times he says undercurrent?
Yeah, right.
But I think we're on number 4.
Same spot. Anyway, the point that I'm making is that I was saying to her that I am as aware of you as you are aware of what you want from me. So then I expect that same level of reciprocity. Now, here's my deal. My deal is raising my girls. I am trying to raise not only women, but I'm trying to raise potential wives so that I can give them the playbook, not the whole man playbook, but the playbook on what it means to a man, because a man's ego
is as fragile as a woman's feelings.
Thank you. See, these are the things. A man's ego is as fragile as a woman's feelings. And the point of the matter is, if you expect immediate response, then you have to give response because you don't know where that person is sitting. And so I always want to make them aware. So I got what you're saying.
And not even that. Also, too, like I will say, I think now, honestly, just like sitting and like having this conversation, like thinking about it, I will say too, you and mom at a very young age of mine have always told me how y'all felt. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this made me feel like this when you did this.
Right.
And this did hurt my feelings. And I don't like that you said that. And so when you're younger, he's like, all right, man, buck up. Like, what are you talking about? Okay. Like, I'm a kid, all right? Like, you done grown up. But that really is a true, like, that really, I'm grateful that you do that. And I'm grateful that mom does that because, like, that really has helped me understand to be an emotionally, maybe like regulated person, or like I'm a little bit more sensitive to how other people are feeling.
Yeah.
So then that helps me understand, like, okay, you know what? If I have to take 10 more seconds out of my day to do whatever just to help, and like, I don't want to say not in an appeasement way,
Right.
but just to let you know, like, you know what, like, hey, I do care. Like, if I'm headed home, I'll call my mom, like, hey, do you want me to get you X, Y, and Z? Like, would you like for me to pick that up for you? And she's like, no, but like, thank you so much for letting me, like, that just means the world to me.
Yeah, that's
and
her mother.
I'm not like, I wish I was exaggerating. Like, that is genuinely
that
how
is
she
her.
responds.
Yeah, that's her.
But it's just like, oh, okay, like that just helps you become like a better person
Right.
in all areas. And I didn't realize like that was a benefit growing up and like young, like growing up and, you know, I'm younger and I'm experiencing adults. And like sometimes you really don't hear adults say, like, this is how this made me feel. And like, you did hurt my feelings. And let's walk through that. Like, why did you do that? Why did you say that? And you're like, okay, like, because like I'm annoyed. Like, what do you mean? But then dad always wants you, gosh, this man always wants you to dig deeper.
Because my thing is,
No, case in point.
Okay.
This was in October. Grayson was here. I'll never forget this. We sitting outside. We're sitting around at the breakfast table. The Kingdom Cafe made, I think, quiche.
Grayson is my grandson.
Oh yeah, my nephew. Sorry.
Okay.
They made quiche. We kikiing, haha, and having fun. Grayson doesn't want to eat the quiche. He doesn't like it. And he just told me, like, yeah, I'm really not rocking with it. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we'll chop it up, whatever. This man stops what he is doing in mid-conversation. Is like, so why don't you like the quiche? Grayson was just like, I don't like it. He's like, no, but why? But like, well, I don't like it. No, but like, you need to understand the why, because when you understand the why, like this principle is going to show up in so many other areas. And it's just like, he is 8. The brother not liking the quiche. It's never that deep. But then also like low key, it kind of is that deep though. And so at 8, no, I was just like, okay, if I was Grace, I was like, bro, I'm not rocking with the quiche. I don't like the texture of it. But now at 28, you can understand like why don't I like this certain thing, or like what is the root of it? And so
I got you. See, but it begins at a very young age. I think my thing is that what I really admire about you is that you, as you are becoming this woman, you have really taken on sort of this Socratic method of asking questions so that you can have an understanding, so that you can have a better conversation. So let's talk about this. Let me just deal with this reciprocity thing real quick, and then we'll wrap. But part of the tell the audience your shameless plug undercurrent of how you adopt this concept of reciprocity, because you and I really had a conversation. So let me just, this is like the real. I'll never forget. We were doing something, and I said to Destiny, I said, what's important to you, do you remember that? Is important to me. But what's important to me is not important to you. Therefore, what's important to you won't be important to me anymore. And I did that as a teaching tool as a parent, based upon her understanding of reciprocity. Because she's like, if I do this, then this ought to happen. And then Destiny was like thinking reciprocity in life. If I do this, then this is supposed to happen. And then she was getting, I would say, I'm gonna just use the word disappointed.
Absolutely.
Disappointed and hurt, because the things that she would honestly do for others, or even for her life, in her context of filling out applications, and I'm doing the stuff, I'm praying, and how come life's not working for me? And at this context, it was this whole thing about reciprocity. Now, from a child, this one, and I keep saying this one because Destiny has a whole different way of seeing the world. But from a child, I kept saying to Destiny, the world will not, the world doesn't work the way it occurs for you. You think that it should be this way. And she's really, she's stubborn in that space of reciprocity, not in a bad way, but just in a way of conviction. And so I had to use that so that she understood that as much as you believe in reciprocity, there you have to practice this grace as well.
Mhm.
So tell me, where did that come from? And the reason why I'm raising it is because I'm sure there's a lot of young women that are watching, right? That struggle, maybe struggles are too hard of a word, but that contend with
Mhm.
this whole thing about I'm doing all these things and how come this isn't coming back to me? How would you how would you speak to that for them?
I think in like 2021, I was just like, oh my gosh, my birthday's coming up. I'm coming up with a word for the year of this like new era that I'm becoming. And so reciprocity was my word for that year. And I was like, you know what? I want reciprocity in everything. I want it in my friendships and my relationships and work and wherever I am, like reciprocity will follow. And child, I don't know if reciprocity lost my number, lost my address, if she blocked me, I don't know. But like mamas did not show up there nowhere. And it's just like, okay, but I just, and even now in like till like still today, I'm still like it is just it just makes sense to me. Like, duh, like if I do this and I'm working toward all of these things, like then duh, like this should happen. Like, why is it not happening? But it was really, really important to me. And I think now, especially as I am growing with my walk with God, um, you really do learn. Like, I even wrote down my devotional. Y'all gotta open up that book for real. Y'all really do got to open up that book. He's talking to you. He really is talking. And you really just learn, like, don't just do things because you're expecting an outcome. Like, if it's not coming from a genuine place and you really aren't being for real and you are just doing this because his number one word is like, I don't want a transactional relationship. I want us, to be emotional and okay. All right, for sure. Yes, yes, yes. But that is really true. Like, you don't want to just have transaction in anything that you do. Like, no matter what the space is, like, don't be transactional in it because you are just going to get a transactional outcome. And sometimes transactions get denied,
Yeah,
transactions fail,
yeah.
you ain't got the money, the transaction couldn't go through. They locked your card, you got to email the bank. Like, that can happen. And so just really understand and work from a space of why am I doing this? So, like he says, like understand the why of why you're doing it, and another thing that like my friends and I say a lot, the price of community is inconvenience. And so like understand like you're not just in community with your people, with your girlfriends, with your homeboys, whatever, like you're in community with your family too. And so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I have to understand, and especially this year, pick up your coffee mug. When I was unemployed, um, I really like began to be in community like with dad and like understand a lot of the behind the scenes things and like he always keeps us like abreast of what's happening and what's going on and all of this, but like now I've been able to see the undercurrent and the background and the process of the
So
undercurrent.
you know what? Forget you with your shady self. But I think this you bring up a good point because as a father, a lot of times children are around you, but they don't see you. They see you and babe, I'm so glad you talked about transaction. They see you as a transaction. And there's a whole lot of fathers out there that I really want to encourage that as you're raising, particularly daughters, sons are a whole nother uh, animal. But as you're raising daughters, it's important that they do not see you just as an ATM, as a transaction that I need something, so therefore my father to do it. And they don't have the relationship. I think what for me was important is that I'm proud that you're here because while she tell you I keep them abreast, they see all the things that I do, but I will tell you as a father, the loneliest thing is that I do this without you guys. And you see the final product, but this time of you take another sip of coffee was unemployed, what I did was I said, no, then you're coming to work for me. And in this process, our relationship was always good, but it has a different dynamic now because now she understands what I do. She sees, instead of saying, man, you're so busy, you're always doing this, now she's like in the middle. She's in the middle of it. And now does it make sense differently?
No, I think I've always had an understanding of it, but now I will say also too, like just growing up as well, dad and shout out to my mama have always been very like encouraging of you don't have to follow the path in which
Mhm.
I have forged. Like you go forge your own path if you want to, happy to have you. Like I can give you the tools and like the tools and keys to the kingdom. But if you want to do your own thing, I'm happy to give you advice on what that may look like. And so I've always understood the love that you have for it, but I don't think I have the calling that he has
Mhm.
for this particular venture that you are in.
Sure.
And so I think that's why it's always been so easy for me. But like, if you don't tell the people no, no, cancel it. No, I'm not going. Sorry. You're getting on my nerves. And he's always just like, I can't do that. Like, that's not me. That's not what God asked me to do. And so it's just like, okay. But now that I'm getting like the Google Calendar invites and like I'm sitting in on calls and like he's giving me, there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of context and there's a lot of like relational things that I just wasn't privy to. But now that like I'm able to see it, oh, okay, I know why you have such a passion for this. I know why like you love this. I know why you go so hard for this. Like this really is who you are. And like, whoops, sorry for me being like, bump them, don't even do it. Like, forget them. Let's leave. My bad, job.
Let me ask you this. So if you see that now,
Mhm.
do you see like your exposure in this time that you've been in this setting with me, and do you see how you can transfer these experiences to your next assignment, your next workplace or whatever? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Because it's more about how we deal with people. It's not what you're doing. It's how do you deal with people.
Mhm.
And people are a lot.
Absolutely.
People are a lot.
Absolutely.
People are a lot. That's all I'm gonna say.
Under my regime,
Yeah, see, here's the problem.
I'm not gonna finish that statement, but I'll
Right,
let y'all
please
fill
don't.
it in.
But okay, so let me ask you this question. When you said you saw it and you're like, oh, this is who he is, where do you, as becoming a woman, where do you see your sweet spot of purpose?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I wish I could really give you a profound, like deep
No.
thought, but I think for my friends and I, when like during our Bible study, we
The
had
crew that
crew.
I've always talked
shout
about.
out to my girls.
The girl, oh Lord
Shout out to
Jesus.
the girl, la la.
Them, well, never mind. That's a whole nother thing.
But no, also too, like for everybody watching, invest in your community, invest in your people, because like you really not only do you need to have like community within your family, like you have to have community like around you. Pick up the phone and call your homegirl, call your homeboy, like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a minute. Like,
And she is more receptive and attentive to her crew than she is to her parents. She will turn around and get up in the middle of the night. She will go shopping for blah, 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 blah. You ask for a glass of water and be like, yo, you got legs? You good?
That's not true.
Okay.
Y'all know that's not true.
All right.
Anyway, back to the purpose conversation. Stick to the topic. We talked about it before, and me and my friend Maya were just like, you know what? Like, I don't know if we have one set purpose in life. Like, I think as I go through life, my purpose is ever evolving, ever changing. I think my purpose for this particular moment was to be here. And now, almost a year later from unemployment, now almost a year later, like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like, oh, that's why you had me literally go through all of this. Like, that is why. And again, like I'm gonna bring up the devotion. I had it in me for like weeks. Like God was like, girl, you need to fast. You need to fast. Like fast, sister. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm good. And then he was like, no, actually, real life, you do need to do this thing. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And since I've been doing that for like the past like month and a half now, oh, I get why you wanted me to do it. I get why, because you were preparing me for something that
Right.
I didn't see or I didn't understand. And so within this, like, I think this was my purpose to be in this moment, to be like working with like you all, working like with your team, understanding, like getting to know new people. I'm expanding like my network. Like I would never have ever ran into Jessica.
Right.
Shout out to you.
Right. Shout out to Jessica.
Shout out to Jessica.
Amazing.
Truly.
Brand strategist, all the things.
Call her.
Captivate. You really want to make sure.
Really, no,
Okay.
like not even that.
She's
like,
giving us the wrap-up sign, but we saying
Sign.
she's the bomb.
But like I would never have had the opportunity like to meet her, to like
Right.
understand and like be a part of this. So I think that was my purpose now. I think I had to be here to learn certain things,
Sure.
like grow in confidence in certain areas so I can transfer that over
And see
to
systems.
Yeah.
See systems and understanding responsibilities in that space. I'm concerned that people will watch this and say, oh, good for them.
Mhm.
But that's not my story.
Oh no,
So
this
no. What I'm saying is that's honest, and it isn't their story, but it can be their story.
yeah, like I'm saying like this wasn't our story to like in the beginning.
No,
Like let's actually really keep it a bean.
right?
Am I able to share a little bit of it?
Not that much.
Oh, okay. Well, this wasn't our story. Like,
This wasn't.
Like, we actually had to work to get to, like, we had to work to get here.
Yeah.
Grateful that, like, we did, like, work to get here. And I'm grateful, like, to have you in my life and learn and understand, like, oh, like, this is my dad. I'm like, oh, this is, like, what we do. But this wasn't it.
Yeah. And it's important. It's important you understand that. Because I know, like, we laugh and talk. What you see is 28 today and 29 this year, years of work in developing. And here's I think the rub, Destiny, is that a lot of people, they think parents and kids is just a natural thing that's just supposed to happen. And they invest a whole lot of time in relationships, in other relationships, instead of centering what this relationship looks like.
Mhm.
Because what I do know as your father, that if I blew this moment, then I would set somebody up for a bad moment in their life and not prepare you for whatever that bad moment is.
Mhm.
And so, you know what I do with your sisters, and I tell all of you, I'm preparing you for, I do a wife training thing, because I think it's really, really important for them to understand how a man thinks. So, you know, I go off on the bonnets, and, you know, that's the whole thing for me, right? So
You ain't
I'm
got
like,
no hair.
right, I ain't got no hair. But the point of the matter is, don't be pulling out some grease-stained, nasty little rag and throwing it on your head and saying to, no, Jessica's doing this. No, I want to say this because it's important that you understand that the image that you present to men, because men are visual, right? Men are visual until men can respect your intellect, until they can see your purpose. They then have mad love for your drive, right? So we talk about those things, but it's important that fathers understand that you're the father, you're the parent. The child, it's not about my child doesn't call me. You pick up the phone and call them. You have to, as a father, you have to be the initiator, and you're going to have to take some grief too, right? You're going to then have to learn as they are becoming adults that you move into a coaching space, not a helicopter parent, a coaching space, give them room, but always make sure that they have an emotional backstop, that they realize that, you know, things are going to be tough, but you're not going to fail because of the relationship. And so I know I said a lot, but I want you also to talk to daughters who may be estranged from their dads, because there is a redemptive moment. Whatever your relationship is right now, it doesn't have to stay that way.
I would say, I think always just be open and receptive to what is going on. Granted, you know what happened and you know your story. So I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, just be all forgiving and all of these. Like, take the time that you need, one, to like really learn like who you are, be confident in that. Take whatever necessary steps, whether that's going to therapy, talking to other people, trusted, whoever. And when the moment does happen and like when the reach out does happen, like just be receptive and just listen to what has happened, what they have to say, and you sit with that for a minute. Remember, they are just a boy.
Yeah, that's a good
Like,
that's good.
they're just a boy. And take that however you want to decipher that. But also too, like, they are people, and they are not these all like, oh my gosh, this superhero and this and that is just a man, and they're still trying to figure things out, just how you are still trying to figure things out. Definitely be receptive to that. And then if you are receptive to that and you're like, okay, you know what, I'm ready to forward to like this relationship, the cost of community is inconvenience. You're going to be inconvenienced. You are now going to have to understand how to morph your life with this other person or like with your father and grow in that community. Like now, this is a new community that you just formed. How are you going to nurture that relationship? Show up even when you don't feel like it. There are going to be times like, oh, okay, I don't understand like really what's going on. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. But sometimes you just need to vent and like,
Mhm.
okay, I just need to sit here and listen. So
Mhm.
just do those things. And like, honestly, I think we're friends. Like, I think
Right.
I can honestly say, like, me and my dad are friends. Me and
Yep.
my mom are friends. As much as parents let it be like, I'm not your little friend.
I'm not her friend, but I am her dad. But
We
that's the, you know what
friends.
that
We
no, we
friends.
friends. We are.
We friends.
And then here's the thing. Where she was just talking about hey roomie. I was like, girl, do not
Absolutely.
get comfortable
We was
because you
roomies at a
getting out of
point.
here. Okay.
At a point in time.
It's time to go. Let's close with this.
Yes.
Tell me, what are your hopes that this connection stays true? What are your hopes about our connection?
That's a good question.
So let me tell you mine.
Okay, great.
My hopes for our connection is that I live long enough to see you at your ultimate place of fulfilled happiness.
Mhm.
And that you will take that you will never lose your curiosity, and that you will never lose your passion and your sense of discovery.
Mhm.
I pray that that will be with you forever, and that will be in your relationships, and that'll be with your children, so that generationally now we can pass down this whole understanding and real joy of becoming.
Mhm. That was really deep.
Girl.
My hope is honestly, like, I really hope that like we continue to like have fun.
Right.
And like I really do hope like to continue to get to know like who you are
Mhm.
as a person. And so unfortunately, whenever that time comes, like I can be very confident, be like, oh no, I knew you. Like
Right.
we had fun together. We had like community together. I really hope that I hope to see like you get everything that like you genuinely want. I see how hard that you are working like towards things. I even write about you in my devotional.
Oh, thanks, babe.
But like
the devotion.
just like really like, oh no, I was like, Lord, like thank you for allowing me to be in this moment. And like I hope that you fulfill every desire like of his heart of like things that he tells me, things that I don't even know about. Like I'm really proud of you. And like you are really like doing what you said that you want to do. And like it's very fun I'm grateful that like you are like in good health and like you are energetic and you're able to move around and like not everybody can do that. And so I think it's really also y'all too, like hang out with your parents.
It's a lot of fun.
Do that. Like
it's a lot of fun for us.
It's fun. Absolutely. You're gonna get something to eat too. But real life, like hang out with your parents because I think as they get older, they really kind of like let their guard down like a little bit more and like they're just not as like serious and like as they were as when we were children because they were very much so in like protective mode. But now I know I keep talking about like, oh, you're just a boy, but I'm really understanding like who you are as a person. I'm really understanding who my mom is as a person. Like, oh, okay, like I get that now and I understand why you did these things and like they did the best they can with what they had and like there's so much nuance so you have to understand from their upbringing and who raised them and like it all goes back to slavery, truly.
And with that, listen, this has been a father-daughter conversation in a month where I think we need to pause and celebrate women, celebrate our ancestors, celebrate those that have really made impact on so many different lives. I hope that this conversation, this podcast, this episode will bring a sense of awareness to your own relationship. Maybe it'll spark you to pick up the phone and call your dad, or it'll spark a dad to pick up the phone and call his daughter and say, hey, let's try this again. Because you're right. He's just a boy that has grown up and he's discovering. And there's a lot of responsibility, there's a lot of pressure, cultural, financial, all the things. But there's nothing more important than a daddy-daughter relationship. A father-son relationship is equally important. But since we're in this moment, a daddy-daughter relationship really is the foundation for young women becoming older women, becoming a full-grown woman, and establishing that. So thank you. And babe, this has been great for me. You don't know, I know I'm emotional and all the stuff, but this makes me super proud to share my life with you in this way because I think you are phenomenal. This has been
The Undercurrent.
This is The Undercurrent. Hey, thank you for watching the Raising a Woman episode of The Undercurrent. This has been a great, great time and exchange, and I'm super happy to share this space with my daughter.
Yes, thank y'all so much. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like, make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, share it, send it to your people, just so everyone can see my beautiful face.
Whatever. And if you want to have a deeper conversation, I'd love for you to join the Align for What's Next group. Go to MatthewLBrown.org, take a look at it, subscribe, and we would love to have you as part of our community.